What do you want?
We'd like you to help plan the news for 1973.
Come again?
Plan the news for 1973. 1973. We've only roughed out the news for 1973. Nothing's been given the go-ahead yet, but this is the kind of thing we have in mind.
And you've always thought you couldn't bear press-on nails because of all the active things you do? Well, if you're ready for beautiful, natural-looking, easy-to-apply nails, pre-colored in 7 luscious hues, just...
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
Oh, goddamn hacker, that second damn night that asshole's cut in.
The movement was begun 8 months ago by a small group of scientists who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent through...
Things giving me a headache. Yeah, tell me about it. Us took the hackers months to figure out how to do this.
The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
Today, April 14th, 1973. First historic pictures by Radstar of the combined U.S.-Russian landing on the moon. Shown here are Majors Webb and Mikhailovich taking their first steps into the unknown, firing their retro rockets to land their spacecraft on the dust-covered surface. A comforting note for us stay-at-homes, both the Pentagon and the Kremlin have announced that the moon has no strategic value.
A comforting note for us stay-at-home. I can't show you any film on this next model. We haven't photographed it yet. But this is the way it will sound.
June the 22nd, 1973. The State Department releases film of the ultimate weapon, codenamed Icarus. This satellite is equipped with a solid reactor. In layman's terms, it can freeze air solid, stopping all missiles, killing all forms of life. Icarus orbits at the same speed as the Earth, can hang in position over every major city that threatens the peace-loving nations.
Rather proud of this one. Come on. Please, sit down.
September the 5th, 1973. A new phase in global warfare. War by example. At 4:32 our time, China took out the remote Indian border village of Bandor, unprotected by the Icarus network. After the first 2 5-megaton H-bombs had fallen, the 9-way hotline finally...
Switch it off.
But
this is going to happen in 1973. You're going to make this happen?
No. We're going to make models, much cheaper. Then we photograph the models.
Fake newsreels?
Yeah, fake newsreels. For the past 10 years, people have been looking at our fake newsreels and listening to our fake commentaries.
And they accept it for the truth. And you can do it. stop 100 people in the street, how many of them have actually seen a missile or a satellite? They're just told they exist and they believe it.
Yes, you're getting there. I knew you would.
Well, now the moon rocket and the satellite, that you can get away with. That's too remote for people to grasp. It's too far away, but this... I mean, you invented this village on the Indo-Chinese border.
Oh, yes.
Well, somebody could check up.
Very mountainous territory up there. There'll be no survivors in 1973. No rescue work. Radiation scare.
Yes. You can do it. This could be the news for 1973.
Not necessarily exactly like this. We only plan in detail 1 year ahead.
Oh, you only plan 1 year ahead.
Hey, tell me, what is the news item that's bothered you the most in the past year, 1967?
Oh, well, it has to be the new American intercontinental ballistic missile, the Boy Wonder, doesn't it?
Just the one I asked him to set up for you. The new ICBM, codename Boy Wonder, with a much talked about Mercury warhead. I haven't any special effects up here, but perhaps with the proper sound. Blast off. And Robert Larkin, television director, high IQ, 35 years old, is scared. Scared by nothing. It doesn't work. It's a scientific impossibility. The same goes for the much talked about Mercury warhead. Perspex.
Well, if this rocket doesn't work, then the others...
They have a fireworks party at Cape Kennedy almost every other day. Well, you didn't really believe there were all these things whizzing about up there, did you? Sputniks and rockets. Astronauts crossing their legs for 8 days.
How long has this been going on?
Since Hiroshima.
And the H-bomb, you mean... that doesn't work either?
Right. Dirty.
Very, very dirty.
What was your first reaction? Relief. Oh, yes. Yes, it has to be relief. Only 12 people are allowed beyond this point. Most of them work in the photographic department, taking phony newsreel pictures of our models and processing film and so on. Sit down, please. Ah, pretty pictures from our stills department. The Boy Wonder.
Do you really think that missiles and satellites are mile out of country?
No, not at all. I've only shown you the hard news. There are other things, much softer things we thought might interest you.
Well?
1973, we thought it might be time for an anti-teenage movement. A long-awaited return to maturity. Sherry. Perhaps even a religious revival.
When did it all start?
1945. You may remember the Americans let off their 2 atomic bombs. Well, they didn't want other people doing the same thing. I mean, you do see that, don't you?
Oh, I don't know.
To scare the people off, the Americans put it up, and the atomic bomb was halfway along the line to something much bigger, the hydrogen bomb. It didn't work. They spent 5 years in negative research.
Well, what about the Russians? They're supposed to have quite a pile of these things.
We were surprised when they started their tests. Then we got a few feelers from their Secret Service. Nowadays, we work very closely together. Oh, all these stories about spies going off to Russia. Mr. Philby, remember? Just good copy for the Sunday papers.
Good copy.
The State Department today said it expects Russia to provide access to an American citizen arrested in Moscow. He is charged with espionage. Here's Barry Peterson.
Amid the splendor of the Kremlin, Russian President Vladimir Putin tonight wished for a happy new year, but maybe not so happy for U.S.-Russian relations, as his intelligence service announced they arrested an American in Moscow. Identified only as Paul Whelan, they claimed he was on a spy mission, a crime that carries up to a 20-year sentence. U.S. officials say they have not spoken to Whelan. Things were already rocky when President Trump canceled a meeting with Putin at the G20 in Argentina last month after Russia refused to return ships it seized from Ukraine. And the Kremlin claimed that Russian Maria Butina was